tonight?
Attention, salute, and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to live in this city and to have the people living in this city that we have. Father God, I ask that you would be with Mr. Shirey and help him as he's in the hospital right now. I ask that you give us wisdom and insight and courage to continue to move this city forward. In Jesus' name, amen. Tonight I would like to move, or at first, Danielle, is she in here? Could you come and just share with the people what these two things are, please?
Good evening, everybody, council, citizens. This is a special evening for you guys. I don't know how many of us know this, but I am the current Oklahoma chapter president for the American Planning Association. Last evening, the city of Bethany was awarded 2 awards at our annual conference. The first was for Outstanding Plan, which that outstanding plan is for a plan that kind of looks at kind of envisioning the regular city planning and looking long-term, things like that. The City of Bethany's plan, the Comprehensive Plan 2030, was the first update of the plan since 1972. The plan was an innovative roadmap that is giving the City of Bethany a new direction for the future. So this award was presented yesterday evening at an awards ceremony to the City of Bethany. We had several council people there, myself and as well as Amanda was in presence, and it was a wonderful evening. The second award is for Outstanding Citizen Planner. This award is awarded to a citizen, a non-professional planner, that is someone that is progressive in the sense of what they do for planning and what they offer. This year's award went to our one and only Mr. Gilbert Carlson for his work on the comprehensive plan, his work in BETA, the Bethany Economic Development Authority, as well as his work on 23rd Street, and planning and zoning as being vice chair. So congratulations to the City of Bethany. It was an honor and a privilege to present the awards, and we're very proud.
Thank you. That was an exciting evening last night. It just shows that we have great people in the City of Bethany that help put together things like comprehensive plans. First thing I want to do is I want to move item number 5 on tonight's council meeting agenda to the first thing that council will vote on. Item 5 is consideration and possible adoption of resolution number 1516, appointing Beth Ann Childs as the interim city attorney until December 31st, 2018, or at such time as city council appoints a full-time city attorney, whichever comes first, and approving the authorizing the execution of a First Amendment professional service agreement with the Child's law firm, setting forth the terms of the representation and compensation. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Please cast your votes. So item 1 is a consent docket. Items A through E. I would like to make a motion to approve this with the removal of item from the claims list 10-1069. It is the OML handbooks. I spoke with OML. They asked that I have this pulled tonight because they want to give a special discounted price to this bill because they had never seen anyone order this many handbooks ever. And so, do I have a motion to approve this?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull
the item number 19-31382 also.
Which one is that?
That's the Sears.
That is in the BDA.
Oh, okay. Thank you for helping me out.
Mayor,
Yes.
I know it seems like a routine here right now, but I would actually like to pull and have staff review 19-31351 in regards to mileage reimbursement to a staff that may be in excess of what's needed.
Do I have a motion to approve these with the pulling of these two items?
What's your question on the mile? Is it just that they may not have needed to drive
It
somewhere?
was, I feel excess mileage for going to a conference in downtown Oklahoma City. It was 114 miles to be reimbursed at 54 cents a mile.
I thought that was like Broken Bow.
It was Oklahoma City OML conference.
What's that number again?
19-31382.
What's that under? General or management or finance?
Was that, did you say 351? The one that Paul talked about was 31382. I think the one you said was a different number. 31351.
You're right.
maybe.
Yep,
31351.
yep, that's too many numbers. 31351, my apologies.
What department is that under?
I'm looking for it. It is under management. It is on the first page of our consent docket. And it's for the OML conference.
I saw it there. I'm trying to pull it up now. But he's right. Can you find it? I saw it.
And if I may make one other statement, nothing to be pulled here. I'm afraid that council may need to set some policies for rules and the way we operate when we have conferences in town. What should be allowed as far as spending limits, getting hotel rooms when they're locally. So we may have to look at that in a workshop and see if we don't need to set some policies.
I'm looking at this now, and it looks like the conference reimbursement was $409.63, and then mileage $170.58, and those are different number. I mean,
It was in Oak City. mileage.
no, there's another one.
Does it not say Oklahoma City, the OML, on the mileage?
CMAO.
The OML conference was 31351, and that was $409.63, which says to me it was staying overnight downtown. And then the next one was called conference and mileage, which probably included parking, and that's 170.58. But this person doesn't live in our community,
So-
That's a
Which-
city manager conference.
They're
Also.
17 days
It wasn't the
apart.
OML?
that's
It says
CMAO.
city
Okay.
managers. I'm not sure
Was
where
that
that
a-
was.
That wasn't the
That's
same
the city
conference?
No, that's city
Oh,
manager.
that says
It was in
September 1.
Where was it?
Well, I'm not logged in Laserfish.
Wasn't it like Paul's Valley or something like that?
Well, I still had.
Yeah, CMAO is a
Those are
city
different
managers
conferences.
There's no reason we can't look into it though, John, and I agree with you.
Yeah, so let's pull both of those.
We can improve it and staff can still look into it. And if staff feels necessary, and I'm quite confident that Mr. Cole can make that judgment call.
So you want to leave it in?
We'll leave it in.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve items A through E with the removal of the OML handbook?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Please cast your votes. Item 2 is consideration and possible approval of lease termination memorandum of agreement with Oklahoma City Airport Trust. Do we want an explanation, staff report, or do I have a motion?
Second.
Please cast your votes. Item 3 is consideration and possible approval of ordinance number 1960. An ordinance amending Title 11, Chapter 110.
So moved.
I have to read the whole thing.
Yeah, item A is approval of ordinance 1960 on reading by title only.
I would just, before the council burns me in effigy, I would just like to say that I didn't realize that the charter required to read the whole thing, so I will keep that in mind next time I write War and Peace. So,
Can I make a motion just to read the short title as opposed to the whole title?
I don't know that I really want to take a vote and all that. Yeah, as long as
Okay.
I don't have to be the one to read all this.
All right, so-
we're good.
Here we go.
okay, I'll talk fast. How about that? Okay, the first one is at Title 11, Chapter 110, General Licensing Provisions, Section 110.02 of the Bethany Code of Ordinances pertaining to levying a license tax and specifically removing all statutory references, including the reference to alcoholic beverage sales, and amending Appendix A to Chapter 110 and specifically removing the license taxes pertaining to alcoholic beverage sales and mixed beverage establishments, including brewer, distiller, winemaker, and Oklahoma winemaker, rectifier, wholesaler, Class B wholesaler, retail package store, retail dealers of non-intoxicating beverages, mixed beverage establishments, initial and renewal, and caterer, initial and renewal, providing for repeal or providing for the severability and declaring an emergency. You are hereby qualified to be an auctioneer.
Auctioneer.
So item A is approval of ordinance number 1960 on reading by title only. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Please cast your votes. Item B is approval of sections 1 through 4 of ordinance number 1960. Do I have a motion?
So moved. I have a question as
Second.
well.
You have motion
This-
and question?
This just essentially brings us in compliance with state law, right?
It does,
Okay,
yeah.
just double check.
And if you want to just, I mean, rather than that, you can just say to adopt ordinance number 1960, and then a separate motion to approve the emergency clause. If you want to handle it that way, that's a quick way as well.
Okay, let's do that. Do I have a motion?
What'd she say?
So moved.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
And then just a separate motion to approve the emergency clause.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Please cast your votes. Item 4 is consideration and possible approval of ordinance number 1961.
An ordinance amending Title 11, Chapter 111, Alcoholic Beverages of the Bethany Code of Ordinances, Section 111.01, pertaining to definitions and specifically adding definitions set forth in the Oklahoma Alcoholic Beverage Control Act, amending Section 111.02, authority by providing for levy of an occupational tax and specifically providing for payment prior to operating or maintaining a brew pub or brewery, a business
Serving mixed beverages, beer or wine, or retail establishment that sells for off-premises consumption any type of alcoholic beverages. Amending Section 111.03 compliance with state and city laws by establishing the amount of the occupational tax relating to the sale of alcoholic beverages as set forth in the Oklahoma Alcoholic Beverage Control Act. Amending Section 11.04 separate premises by establishing business hours of operation for breweries, brew pubs, businesses serving mixed beverages, beer or wine for on-premises consumption, retail spirit stores, and retail wine stores. Amending Section 111.05 reserved by requiring a certificate of compliance for a business selling mixed beverages, beer or wine for on-premises consumption. Amending Section 111.06 advertising prohibited by requiring a certificate of compliance for retail spirit stores and retail beer and retail wine stores. Amending Section 111.07 sale and delivery restricted by addressing sale of mixed beverages, beer or wine by persons of certain ages. Amending Section 111.08 intoxicated persons prohibited in certain places by addressing signs. Providing for a repealer of Sections 111.09 through 111.10, 111.20 through 111.29, and 111.40 through 11.45 of the Bethany Code of Ordinances, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, and declaring an emergency. Basically, the Oklahoma legislature, pursuant to a vote of the people and Senate joint resolutions, blah, 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 they have now taken control pursuant to state law of alcoholic beverage and regulation. So whereas before you had, I don't know if any of you went to the grocery store last night, but if you did, you might have noticed that there was wine and there is no more Low Point beer. And so it used to be that cities would regulate Low Point beer. The Able Commission allowed them to do that. Well, now they don't. Now Able regulates it. But as sort of a compromise, what they did is they said, okay, cities, we're going to give you the opportunity to provide information to the Able Commission on planning, zoning. We want to make sure that they're appropriate health, life, safety issues. So, for example, I mean, we don't want a liquor store burning to the ground, and we want to make sure that they're meeting city codes. So with the assistance of the Planning and Community Development Department, we've got forms, and so we're working closely with the Able Commission so that we can move forward with implementation. The hours and things like that are actually set by state statute, and so unfortunately the city doesn't have a great deal of regulation, but the city is considered an interested party, and so if there are some issues, then city representatives do have the ability to contact the Able Commission. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So, can we take one vote for items A and B?
That's fine. Or if you just want to, you don't even have to do the reading. If you just want to take two motions, one to adopt the ordinance number, whatever it is, and then approve the emergency
1961.
clause separately.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval sections 1 through 11 of ordinance 1961?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Please cast your votes. Item C is approval of section 12 of ordinance number 1961, the emergency section. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Please cast your votes. Since we moved item 5 to the beginning, item 6 is a public hearing item, consideration and possible adoption of resolution number 1515, approving new solid waste rules and regulations for new semi-automatic pickup of solid waste. Do I have a report?
Good evening, council. I'm here tonight as the acting Public Works Director who was asked to take over a project, and this is what I have for you. The
Would you state
curbside-
your name?
Ronnie Bacon. Is that okay? We will get to the trash pickup curbside proposal rules in a second. I'd like to start off with the rate increase is not, we're not asking for a rate increase. The last rate increase we've had was 2011. It went from 1607 to 1660. So we have not had a rate increase for 7 years. So that's the first thing I want to address. The second thing is the bags. I know everybody's concerned about bags. This is a safety issue for our workers. Workers' comp is highest in sanitation department. That's all across the nation, not here. Actually, our workers' comp rates, the rates aren't any lower, but our claims have been about $100,000 over the last 5 years, which is actually remarkably low for sanitation. So what I want to do now is show a quick little video to show you some of the problems we've had and some of the issues we are wanting to address. So if you'll start it, Barry. From the beginning. This is how the new system will pick up the cans. Okay, as you can tell, there's lots of problems that needs to be addressed. A lot of those bags are very heavy with grass clippings. As you can see, there was glass sticking out of one, and that was just as recently as last week. I had to take a guy down and get stitches because that cut his leg wide open. So workman's comp is a big issue that we're trying to eliminate with these poly carts. They're 95 gallons. This is an example of the cart that we have purchased. Right now, the average person in their kitchen has a 13-gallon can. So we took 7 13-gallon bags and put in here. So if you use one 13-gallon trash bag every day, it will fit in here, plus you'll have extra room.
And that is the same size Oklahoma City cubic yard wise.
Yes, it's not the same dimensions as their trash can's a little bit taller. Ours is a little more shorter, but it's a little wider. But it's the same capacity as what Oklahoma City is offering their residents and most other cities around. Now I'd like to go down the curbside trash pickup and address anything. You guys stop me at any time you have a question. The trash cart should be placed curbside by 6 a.m. on your collection day. I've worked here for 30 and a half years. That rule's been in place for 30 and a half years. You can set your trash can out the night before if you need to meet that requirement. All trash must be in the cart. Additional bags in personal containers will not be collected. And then the last sentence on that is, please have your trash cans put away by 8. We're not going to be sending the polycart police around to write tickets to anybody that doesn't. We're just asking to be neighborly, put your trash cans up, so the 6 days of the week, your neighborhood looks nice, not with a bunch of trash cans.
And that's 8 p.m.
8 p.m., yes. Now, we understand people will work, and they might not be able to get it put up by 8, but that's just a suggestion. It's not a mandatory rule by any means. We're just trying to make the neighborhoods look pretty without a bunch of empty trash cans sitting out in front of houses. Any questions on one?
No, I just think it might clear it up a little bit. 6 a.m. is if you're guaranteed to have it picked up by 6 a.m., but if you get it out there by 7, the trash doesn't come truck till 7:30, they're gonna pick it up.
Correct. If you know for a fact that, you got time, but we are creating new routes, and so we're gonna have guys learning new routes, so your normal trash time might not be your normal trash time when we go to this new system. We've got most of the routes figured out, and I've sent them off to the polycart people, so when they get ready to deliver these polycarts, they're going to deliver them, and they're also going to deliver the rules, and they'll have an area on there for checking the day of the week that your trash is going to be picked up. Number 2, if the lid doesn't close, it doesn't go. All lids must be closed for the automated truck to collect your trash. Now, that being said, if your lid is open about like that, we're probably still going to pick it up. But if it's like this, there's a bar on the back of that truck that if it's sticking out a couple of feet, it's not going to dump. So that's why the lid has to be to where it can almost fully close. And, you can use your lid to really, you can pack your bags in here and smash that down. I have a poly cart. I live in Oklahoma City. I've smashed my cart down, and you can get a lot in it. Any questions on number 2? Okay, number 3, remember the wheel's 12 inches of the curb line by 6 a.m. And we put in curb line because people that live on the major thoroughfares obviously don't want to put their cans out in the street. So if you can get it within a foot, 2 feet of the curb line, either way, we're going to pick it up and empty it for you. So it doesn't have to be in the yard. It doesn't have to be in the street. If your yard slopes a little bit and you're afraid it's going to fall over, you can put it in the street and we'll pick it up. Any questions, anybody? Moving on to number 4, we are going to trash pickup once a week. The next part is November the 5th. We discussed that earlier. If you guys are still okay with that, we will roll it out then. But you guys had talked about maybe putting it off till after the 1st to get through the holidays. So I just need to know if we're going to stick to this or start in January. Number 5, carts are constructed from durable materials that can handle normal household waste. However, please don't place flammable or hazardous materials, construction waste, rocks, dirt, or furniture into the cart. Most of the other cities I contacted have that same verbiage. They said the biggest problem they have is people putting hot coals in these carts after they've cleaned their fireplace out. So if you melt our cart, burn our cart, we're going to charge the $52.50, whatever it is that we're being charged for the cart to replace that cart, and we'll pass that on to the customer that melted the cart or broke it by overloading it or anything like that. Any questions on that? We put the cart weight limit at 300 pounds, and that is because the tippers will supposedly maybe do 330, but we don't really want to test 330 and have a bunch of hydraulic hoses blow out on us leak. So we set it at 300. Obviously, we're not going to have scales out there weighing these trash cans, but if we hook it up to the tipper and the tipper won't pick it up, we're going to leave it, because we can't expect our guys to pick it up if the tipper can't pick it up. Any questions? Number 7, once again, it's not a mandatory. It is a please bag trash to help keep your cart clean. We're not saying that it has to be bagged. You can throw loose trash. You can put leaves, grass clippings, anything you want in the poly cart, and it doesn't have to be bagged. It was just please if you can. So that is not a mandatory. If you want to clean it, we're asking you to use a mild household cleaner to clean your cart. Once again, we're not saying you have to take your hose and clean your cart out or anything like that. It's just, if you do, we don't want you putting bleach or some acid or something like that that's going to damage our cart. If you want to keep it clean, we're just asking you to use dish soap, Dawn or something like that. Number 8 is we ask that you don't mark or alter your cart in any way. If your cart is stolen or damaged, contact us for replacement or repair. The number is there. Damages resulting from negligence or abuse are responsibility of the resident. So, once again, that's pretty self-explanatory. If your cart gets stolen, let us know. We are going to have, there's going to be a serial number on these poly carts, and they're going to be assigned to an address. So, if a poly cart shows up missing, and all of a sudden somebody's got 4 or 5, we might run the numbers on it to see if somebody picked it up from a vacant house or something like that and return it back to the address that it belongs. Number 9, if you have more trash than will fit into the cart, you can request an additional cart for an extra fee. The extra fee is $250 for the first cart. The second additional cart will be $750 per month. So if you get 2 extra carts on top of the first one, it's going to cost you an extra $10. And I'd like to explain a little bit on that. Our base fee is $16.60. We're not going up on that. $16.60 will get you 1 free cart. It's not free, but it's part of your base pay. $250 is not for the cost of the cart. It's for the cost of taking your refuse to the landfill. The landfill charges us $10.25 per cubic yard that comes in there. These poly carts are right at a half of a cubic yard. So we're going to be picking this up 4 times a month, most months, and it's going to go to the landfill. Once again, 10 cubic yards is 10, so a quarter of that, you're basically going to be, if we pick it up 4 times, it's costing the city $10 to take that extra cart, and we're only asking for $250 to try to help offset some of the cost. So that's where we came up with $250. $750 is basically, we don't want to lose any more money because we're already losing money at $250. Well, if we do that again for the third cart, we're really losing, which could cost sidewalks, police officers, firemen, because the Public Works Authority helps subsidize some of our other departments. So that's why some of these fees have been put on here. It's not to try to make the city rich. It's to just keep the services we have and try to provide the best services that we can provide for the money.
Ronnie,
Yes.
quick question. I don't want to get into comparisons with other cities, but I think you mentioned some of the other cities' second cart fee. This is the lowest in the metro area.
Well, I'm asking for the lowest second
Okay.
cart fee.
Yeah.
If you take Oklahoma City out of it, they provide you 2 carts and a recycle cart for a $21.88 base fee. So Oklahoma City has about 3 million residents. Their pricing is way different because of their
Different scale.
enormous size.
Sure. I just wanted to clarify. I wasn't certain that I got that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions on
You
the
had
fees?
in the regards to the fee, well, you had explained it to me that made sense to me that essentially what we're trying to do here is if you're producing the garbage, you get to pay for the amount of garbage, hopefully, that we're having to take to the landfill.
Correct.
Instead of if I produce 3 of these cans every week and my elderly neighbor produces half of a can, there's no reason why she should be paying the same price as I'm paying.
Correct.
It's only fair. It's like the
Our
water.
current system, with all those people that have put out those large amounts, the little single people that only have 1 garbage can are subsidizing these other people's yard waste.
So if we did the same thing with our water fees, I could water my yard and use 10,000 gallons a month. And if you're only using 100 gallons a month, it would be crazy for us to be paying the same amount in our monthly
Right.
bill.
That's, yes,
Okay.
good comparison. Any other questions on the fees that we've been presented to propose to you guys? Okay, I'll move on to number 10. Each residence will receive one cart. All carts have serial numbers that are assigned to your specific address. If you move, the cart remains with your address. Your new address will receive its own cart. So I don't know how many people move within the city, but they don't need to load their poly cart up and take it with them. They'll have one waiting on them at their new house. Number 11, if you are disabled and unable to roll your cart to the curb, please contact us. Beside the house carryout is available for a monthly base rate. That is the same $16.60 that we're asking you to pay now. It's not any extra charges, and all we're asking is we have a form that we ask you to take to your doctor to say you are disabled and everybody in your household is disabled and cannot get that cart to the curb. We will gladly go get that at the house for no extra fees. So that's what that means when it says for a monthly base rate. That is the base rate that everybody pays of $16.60.
You guys do that now, right?
We do that now. Now we're just asking for some documentation, because what happens, the guys get used to picking somebody up at the house, and maybe it's a real old lady, they've passed away, the new people move in, they see, hey, these guys are picking this up at the house, and we're just going to leave it at the house. Well, that they're capable of getting it out to the curb. So now we're just asking for some documentation saying, I can't get this to the curb. And the guys will gladly go to the house and pick it up and return it to the house. They won't just leave it at the curb. Any more questions concerning that one? And then number 12, it says excessive yard waste, grass clippings, leaves, etc., may be placed in seasonal carts. Now, we didn't just make the seasonal cart up. We've talked to many cities, other municipalities. Some of them have seasonal carts, some of them don't. The seasonal carts are for the people that have really huge yards and they want to rake their leaves and do all that during the winter. So your first cheaper option is to get the extra $250 cart and then the $750 cart. If those three carts don't provide you enough service, then you can get these seasonal carts for an additional $750 a piece. You can get up to 2 of them. So we're just trying to keep the city in business. I'm not trying to make the city any money. We're actually losing money by just doing the $250 on the second cart. That's why these rules are proposed. If you guys think that's out of line and keep the same kind of rules we have, I've done the numbers. If we want to keep it where there's a 3 turnover limit on the truck, you got to provide everybody 18 poly carts. If you guys want to keep the same rules we have now.
And the amount that the number of carts that have been ordered, you said were 1.5 per house.
1.5 is what was ordered by the person that was in this position before myself.
And we've got how much invested in these carts?
$596,000.
I have another
Hold on,
question,
Mike.
a little bit different. It might be Amanda. This regards the map of the pickup dates, because
Okay.
those are going to change.
Correct.
Is that on the website, or I don't know if, I thought I had seen it somewhere, and that might have been on Facebook.
We have a couple of maps. You might have seen somebody in
Okay.
staff might have showed it to you, but we haven't publicly put that out yet.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was in our packet, but I thought I had seen it somewhere.
We
It
haven't
was on-
publicly posted anything on the trash
Okay, I
days
just
yet.
made that part up, but it will be, right? We'll
Yeah,
find
soon.
out where,
Like I said,
each day.
part of what I need to know by tomorrow, really, from you guys, from you folks, are if you want to start this November the 5th or in January. I was in contact with the Polycart people today. They can stop. They were starting production today. They can stop it, but if they start tomorrow, they're going to go till they make 11,336 carts, and they're going to deliver them to my buildings up there, and then they're going to get dispersed If they do it, they need to disperse them now, but if we wait till January, they have agreed to not produce them until it's time to roll them out, and so we don't have to store them in our yard.
I have one other thing. One of those images might have been my yard, so I'll apologize right now.
I don't know where any of those came from. That's just
So-
pictures that have been taken over the last 6 months or so. There was ones with the great big heavy, and I understand most people don't realize, well, I got it out to the curb, but these guys on the back of these trucks are picking up 400 or 500 houses. So when you're picking up 50, 60 pounds 400 or 500 times a day, you're pretty
Well,
tired.
What I was getting at was, I know, and I think I mentioned this in here, but I'm not sure if anybody heard. I'm one of those that have lots of leaves. I always say that I put out 100, 120 bags of leaves, but I don't do it all at once. There's no way. I don't have a crew that does my leaves. I do that myself, but it goes probably at minimum over 4 weekends. And I know I do the same thing at my mother-in-law's, who's in Oklahoma City. She has 2 of those, and we fill it up with that and her grass clippings. But,
Do you mulch them, or do you just put them in there whole?
I put them in whole in bags.
If you'll
But
mulch
she doesn't
them,
have as
you'll
many
get
trees as I
about
have.
20 times the leaves in these things.
Right. Well, the yard, the grass clippings, that thing holds, I don't know how many bags I put in there, but it holds a lot.
And like I said,
So-
once again, we're not mandating that you have to bag your grass clipping. I do not. I live in
It-
Oklahoma
it
City. When my
settles,
bag gets
too.
full, I tow over to the trash can and I dump it. And I've never
It
had.
settles over, if I get half the yard done and fill up hers, one of hers, the next day I can put almost the same amount because it's settled overnight. So, all right, that's all I have.
I know you're needing us to decide tonight whether or not we're taking a vote and rolling this thing out, or whether or not we're gonna table it and pause for a minute and roll it out after the first. I said in the previous meeting, and I'll say it in here, that the reason the firestorm on Facebook occurred, I will take full responsibility for. And it really doesn't bother me, because at least people are talking about it. Because the bottom line is, somebody asked in a staff meeting that these rules get to council as soon as possible so that we could look at them and we could approve them, and they were told absolutely not. It's not a council decision, it's a staff level decision. It's very likely, in my opinion, that these rules could have just been thrust upon us and we wouldn't have had a discussion. One, carts would have shown up with the rules taped to them, and it's on. And it was our decision, I asked Chief Cole, to get this out on Facebook so that people could start to find out what's going on. We promised transparency, and I'm telling you right now, transparency sometimes stinks. Because I got to put up with people on Facebook talking about, we voted you in, we're going to vote you out over a trash can. Okay, fine. I'm cool with that. But we want people to be a part of the process. And I'm cool with tabling this and having more meetings and finding out, is there other things we can do? Is there a better way, or looking into what they've put together? And me, for one, I'm good with it the way it is. I'm going to get one free cart, and I'm going to see if we fill it up before we get a second cart. If we start filling up our second cart and it's looking like we're going to need a third cart, I'm going to ask some children to move out and stop producing so much trash. But I'm trusting the experts, and I'm not about to sit here and say, I think 250 is too much or too little or what, because I don't do this job. They do this job every day. And if you can't trust your experts, then I don't know what we're going to do, because not one person knows everything of every department in this city. You have to rely on the experts. And so it doesn't matter to me if we take a vote now and roll this out or we table it. I will say, and I want to hear from you, that this is a public hearing item. And so when we're finished here on the horseshoe, I'm going to open it up to hear from the public.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to comment as somebody who's been on the council for a little while and may even be off the council before this takes place. But we did talk about this for a long time because of our sanitation workers that were being injured on the job from picking all of this up. And so it was for their sake that we decided to buy the new garbage trucks and get the kind that would automatically load the garbage onto the trucks. That's probably not the right word, waste management or something, but trash is trash. And so that has been an ongoing discussion. The trucks were purchased in last year's budget. The carts were discussed. They were discussed in public meetings. And we even talked one night about the color of the carts. So this isn't something that Ronnie just kind of decided to do arbitrarily last week and did it. I mean, this has been quite a long process for very good reasons. I've lived in cities that had those carts and they were amazing. And, you know, I could take them out going up and downhill and regardless of when it was. So people have contacted me saying, when are we going to get our carts? You said they'd be here in June. You said they'd be here in September. I still don't have my cart. And now to tell those people, oh, we thought we'd wait until January when the ice on your driveway is really good. I mean, I hate to do that to people who have been waiting for them. And I understand that some people just heard about it today or yesterday, but this has been quite a lengthy project, and we've had the trucks for a while, and they don't make those trucks overnight. So it's not a brand new thing that we just thought up this week.
Correct.
And for the record, the carts will not be purple.
Gray.
Thank you,
Big
Mr. Mayor.
gray.
I'm really enthusiastic
They will
about
have
that.
the city emblem on the side besides the serial number.
I have a question, Mayor. Tell us some of the options that residents currently have and will have then for disposing of 100 bags of leaves.
If they want to get rid of them immediately, they can take them to the landfill at Southwest 15th and Council. We have a transfer station up at Public Works that you can dispose of them there. There is a fee, depending on how much you bring in, is depending on the fee. And it goes on your water bill. You don't need to bring any money with you. You just need to bring your water bill, and then it automatically gets added to your water bill. But I will say we don't allow you to throw it on the ground. There are 30-yard roll-offs and there are 40-yard roll-offs. You do have to throw them in the roll-offs, and that's due to DEQ permits and stuff. We are not a dump. It's a transfer station. When we do quarterly trash, we get an exemption from DEQ for that week to put it on the ground, and our guys are picking it up with the equipment. But you as a citizen bring it up there, you're not allowed to throw it on the ground. You have to throw it in a roll-off.
I know that Mr. German and probably Gilbert have a lot of bags of leaves. And if they don't want to haul them up there in their truck, what's their other option?
The third option would be to call Public Works. We have a grapple truck, and the person that is driving it will come out. He'll measure it, and he'll give you a price that you can either say, yes, go ahead and pick it up, or no, that's too expensive, I don't want to do it. And then you have to either take it to the landfill, take it up to the city transfer station. I'm not sure there's any city ordinance that says you can't just leave it on your yard. I don't.
Ronnie, I've got yet another question.
Yes, sir.
Has there been any discussion about what homeowners are supposed to do with their existing cans? How do we dispose of those?
They own them. They can do as they please with them. I had to go through the same thing at Oklahoma City. I finally waited for Big Trash Day, and I let them take it.
And also, just for clarification, those dumpsters that are downtown are not city dumpsters. They belong to the businesses, right? And they pay for them. So don't think you can just get by with dumping stuff there because the people who own the businesses might object.
Right, I mean, the city owns the dumpsters, but, yes.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment, please? This doesn't involve the commercial side of trash pickup in Bethany. This is strictly residential.
Correct. There was an item brought up that what are we gonna do when all the businesses, some of the smaller businesses, wanna go away from their 1-yard dumpsters to the trash cans? And honestly, we didn't think of that yet, so that is gonna be another discussion we have to have. But anybody that's wanting a 2-yard dumpster, I wouldn't think would want poly carts, but, and obviously, there's hazardous materials you can't put in there, so if you're a business that's gonna be doing construction or things like that, that's not gonna work for you.
Well, and Mr. Mayor, I think that that's probably another justification to allow the residents and the citizens a better opportunity to discuss the rules and how this is going to affect them on a weekly basis, because it is a change, and that's something that we need to actively seek the input from the residents, because they are going to have to do this, and we need their input. Plus, I also think we need to consider the commercial aspect. If we can work that issue out in the meantime, I think we can, roll this thing out by January.
You mentioned workman's comp claims, and over the past 5 years,
Yes.
over 100,000. What kind of injuries are we talking about?
Most of our injuries are back strains, just strains and sprains, other than we've had hypodermic needles get thrown in bags, so when you pick that up and you get stabbed with it, your first thought is, did I just get hepatitis? Did I just get AIDS? Because those things are supposed to be disposed of in a hazardous waste container, but we're finding out people are just throwing them in the trash. The one picture showed somebody broke a mirror and put it in the trash bag, and as the sanitation worker picked it up, it hit the back of his leg and sliced him open. So I had to take him down to McBride and get him taken care of.
So if somebody started working for us and a week later got a needle stick and ended up with hepatitis or something like that, the city of Bethany would be taking care of them for the rest of their life.
I don't want to speak on the workman's comp insurance, but it's very possible. Last thing I'll leave you with is I worked closely with the engineer and some real rough numbers. These aren't exact numbers, but the sanitation is bringing in about $2 million a year, but we're spending about 1.5 to keep our services, and that's not including any breakdowns of the trucks. So when you include the breakdowns of the trucks, we're not even making that $500,000 to keep up with buying a new truck every year. A new truck's about $220,000. And speaking to the people we bought it from, with all the tariffs that's going on, they said the price of steel's going up, so you can add about 20% to your truck starting next year. So to continue to provide other departments some of the money that we are making, and then to try to keep up with our own services, we're not going to do it if we don't implement some of these rules now.
Because Public Works supplements other departments.
Correct. That's not just sanitation, that's water and sewer also.
Do we have those numbers of what?
Mr. Penner has some from last fiscal year, if you want to speak on that, Berkeley. So we do provide other monies to other departments. I don't know where it gets dispersed. I know vaguely that the 2 new fire trucks that were bought 2 to 3 years ago was 1.1 million, and they pulled that out of Public Works, which that's $1.1 million we don't have for water, sewer, sanitation. So the money that
Streets, sidewalks, et cetera.
sidewalks, potholes, new streets,
Yeah.
everything that everybody wants costs money, and we don't have it, and we're not charging enough to have it at our current system.
I have a question. We bought new trucks and we retrofitted some trucks. What did we buy and what did we retrofit?
We bought 3 new Freightliners. They've all been dropped off. They're out in service right now. We've only had 1 truck that we've retrofitted. We've had a couple of trucks that are giving us fits right now. We have one that our place of business is telling us they think the motor's blown. Well, that was one of the ones we were gonna retro outfit. So now we have to go back and think which ones of these old ones are good enough to retrofit with these tippers.
So are we now using the new trucks, but just with the old lack of technology?
Yes, the tippers are on them, but yeah, the
We're
guys are
not
still just
using
picking
them.
up by hand and throwing.
So the workers' comp is still being affected, but we're
Correct.
not using these tippers because we have not yet.
Right. If we wanted to roll
Done it.
this out on November the 5th, the carts were going to be delivered between October the 15th and October 22nd. I asked them to put that off because of discussions of moving our start date from November the 5th to January the 14th. So that's why I need an answer on what you guys want to do on the implementation date so I can have them start producing these carts. Because they're not only going to produce them, but they're going to deliver them, and then they're going to disperse them and give us a spreadsheet.
So the decision, I mean, we'll be discussing tonight, but the real choice is, do you want to start fairly soon, or how long do you want to put it off when we already have the trucks, we have ordered and paid for the carts?
I have full confidence
cetera.
that my sanitation crew can make this work if we
Oh,
want
I'm
to
sure they
start.
can.
It's just,
The
there are
public.
going to be some wrinkles. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that there are going to be other things that I have not thought of or my guys have thought of, but we've called probably 10 different cities. We've tried to think of everything possible, and there's always going to be something else that we just didn't think of.
Right,
The
but we can work
business
that out.
Part of that was one of them, and so
Right.
there's still some things to figure out for sure, but we got to cut our workman's comp rates down. We got to start charging. I'm not looking at charging the little old couple that's only going to use one cart. I want to charge the people that are using our services and not paying for our services, but they're making the little old couple that is only putting 2 bags in here a week subsidize their 25 bags a week.
Mr.
think
Mayor,
if we-
on item number 6, it says public hearing. I'd like to see if the public has anything to say about this.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Good enough?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone that would? Yes, very good job. Do you have a question before I call public?
No, go ahead.
Is there anyone that would like to speak during this public hearing?
I, for one, would.
I love him.
It's
Mr.
the
Mayor, if
third
you-
time I brought a trash bag to the city council. I have spent a week writing a letter to you to read tonight. I have 3 pages double-spaced. I finished it about 5 or 6 o'clock tonight.
Mr. Jeremy, can you state your name and address?
I'm Dale German, 38,001 Oak Ridge Drive. But I'm not going to read this because what I've heard Ronnie say, with great appreciation for the work that has been put into this, there are things in there I hope the city council and whoever is responsible for this will read it, because I do make a good point in here. My concern is exclusively for the leaf falling season of the year. I say in this letter that I think areas of Bethany where there's not a leaf problem, they'll applaud this. It'll be a yawn, and they'll just go on. But for those of us who have to pick up leaves, it's a big, big deal. And I think if you would please defer this until January, it would help in this way. It would let those of us who have apprehension and even anger and confusion and lack of information a whole year to process what could happen tonight in a vote and spring on us in a couple of weeks. I just want to show you, I don't need to do this, but since it's the third time I brought my bags to the council meeting, why not? Be patient with me. I'm having my 77th birthday on Thursday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You can sing happy birthday. I can fill that sucker with 2 of these. And you're offering us 2 of these. We can rent a third one. And then what I heard tonight is we don't have the option to buy as many as we need. I would need, what did I say, 28 of these things a week if you're going to collect them once a week. I need 28 of these. It doesn't work. And I ask you, please consider those of us who have to deal with what you're doing to give us space to come to a conclusion. Talk to us, invite us to your meetings, bring my neighbors who have to do this. Let us talk to you. We're good people. We love you guys. We're not going to vote you out because of trash cans, KP. We're just going to do our job together to keep Bethany good. But this is a big deal. And I said in the letter that I appreciate the fact that you guys are ahead of the environmental regulations that cities are going to have to cope with. You've worked hard to get the trucks retrofitted or buy new trucks. You've done so much for us in such a good period of time. But don't screw it up with these bags. It's too complicated for us. And that's why I'm not reading my letter, because I realized in listening to Ronnie's good work that I don't know enough to write you a letter and say, do it my way. Thank you very much. You guys are good. Just remember, whatever happens after I sit down, we love you.
Thank you.
Could I ask him a question?
Yes.
Mr. German, Dale, could you deal, I mean, most of the year, would you be able to use the cart?
Absolutely. My only problem
So
is
it's just that season?
between November, late October to late December. That's the 3 months that are the issue, okay? Thank you.
And so my question to Ronnie is, can the trucks pick up bags? No.
Grapple truck.
Grapple truck, yes.
My name is Richard Wood. I live at 1912 Oak Hill Road. I'm in the Western Oaks Edition, and the Western Oaks Edition has a lot of oaks, a lot of trees. And when Jeff Knapp said he had over 100 bags of leaves, he's just where I am. And the city is cutting back radically on its service to citizens and imposing a huge burden on them if it doesn't do anything about our leaves. During leaf season, I put out about 25 bags a week for over 4 weeks. I had 115 bags last year, and those bags only weigh about 25 pounds. But I can only get 2 of them in one of these carts, so there's no way I can get them in the carts. And I don't have a mulcher to put them in a mulcher. You know, you said you mulch, you can get 10 times as much in. I don't have any way of mulching the leaves. I can't do it with my lawnmower. And so I'm stuck with this huge thing. If I save them up, now one thing I'm not going to do, if you don't pick up my leaves, I'm not going to rake the street for you, because I have 450 feet of street frontage, and I'm getting half my leaves off the street. I'm not going to do the city's job of cleaning the streets if they're not going to help me with my leaves. You'll just have messy streets with lots of leaves, or you get out a leaf scraper from the city. That's one of the things that will happen. As I said, I have about 25 bags of leaves every week when the leaves start to fall, and they've taken care of them perfectly for the last 24 years. Now, I don't see why they have to cut back and not do anything now when leaves are harmless, weigh 25 pounds a bag, and they're just making it easy on the city and impossible for the city residents. And whereas Dale said he wouldn't do anything about voting city council people out, I won't make that same guarantee for myself. I'm used to knocking on doors, and I would work in other boards other than my own to see that we get city council people that care about leaves.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
My name's Derek Howard, live at 6904 Northwest 57th. I've been a resident of this city for my whole life, 38 years. I don't mean no disrespect, but I've always had a problem with sanitation department, but I think sitting there I came up with something that was decent. My trash days are Mondays and Thursdays. I've always missed a day. Like holidays, Thanksgiving, I missed it every year. I'm one of the guys that, I'm not as bad as some of those pictures, but I put out a lot of trash, and I think 2, I will probably handle it. But I think the number one complaint here is seasonal leaves, right? Seasonal leaves. So we have, the one complaint I always had about this city is big trash. We either never got one, or we got one and we weren't notified it. Like, my wife didn't even realize that the big trash days are on the water bill. I was like, hey, you got to tell me. And then she tells me on Friday that it's due on Sunday to have it out there. I mean, come on, we've all been there, right? So it's getting better. You know, most of, like, everybody we know, like Steve is my guy. Like, he's done a good job reaching out to me. You guys have done an excellent job reaching out to the community. You know, when me and him had talked on the phone, I was like, hey, man, you got to use social media. Now you got all these cameras. We can watch it on, you know, because I don't even have cable. So I have no way to watch it. This is my first meeting ever. So I think if there was something that we could do, like as far as maybe an extra big trash day around the seasonal time, maybe that would help. Or just something. Like, that's another complaint that I had. You know, Oklahoma City, you said charge what, $5 more a month? A little more than $5, but you know, I'm going to pay the $2.50 more and probably get 2 cans. But we're still going to have the quarterly trash pickup, right? So maybe if, like, maybe throw a 5th around that time. I think that might help a lot. I don't know. You'd have to spitball with these guys and see what they say. But I have, you know, I think if I take advantage of the big trash day and I buy 2, I think I'd be all right. I really do. But, you know, occasionally I do. I mean, I have like 4 cans sitting on the side of my house. So, you know, occasionally there's 4, occasionally there's only 1, sometimes there's 2. So I thought maybe if the big problem here is seasonal leaves, which I have cut all my trees down. Okay? Like, I'm the guy that picks up everybody else's crap. I have 6 trees on my property line on both sides. I can't get people to pick up anything that they have, and I'm stuck with it. So I've been in this community my entire life. Like people have said, they lived in communities with, I mean, this is old growth trees, 60 footers. I mean, we're blessed. We have tons of trees, tons of leaves. So we're going to have to find a way to meet in the middle, right? That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie, did you have something to address that?
I just wanted to add that the quarterly trash pickup, just the landfill tip fees alone are right at $25,000 every time we do that. So, not including manpower, equipment, fuel, just big trash cleanup's costing approximately $100,000 a year as the way it's done now. So, once again, it's a lot of money that's being spent that I don't think people realize how much it costs to dispose of refuse. So, just want to throw that out there on your big trash cleanup. It is costing you $25,000 for the landfill tip fees.
Is there, yeah, come down here so we can pick you up on the
Facebook
microphone.
Live.
Yeah.
Well, I think I think it would have to come down to yardage. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of revenue boost out of this, right?
No,
I mean,
we're losing money at $2.50 a car. We're losing money.
I mean, but the volume of trash is going to be the same, right? There's going to be less time, right? I'm going to go from 2 days to 1 day, right?
Right.
I mean, what does that do on the labor side of things?
Don't know yet until we roll it out.
Well, and that's what I think, you know. I mean, I think this is going to save the money, or save the city money personally. I mean, I do. Like, I'm a business owner. Workers' comp claims, I don't even know what your ratio percentage is. Mine's 5.1. It's pretty high. I mean, I spend $1,000 a month on workers' comp, and I'm a $500,000 business. $12,000 a year is what I pay in workers' comp fees.
Yeah, the goal of this is definitely to try to save money.
Yeah, and I think it is. I mean, because I'm one of the guys that's going to have to spend the extra $250. But again, one of the reasons I showed up is I have an 83-year-old grandmother that lives at 7504 Northwest 25th Terrace. She's the one bagger. She's the lady that and she's concerned. She's like, am I going to be able to leave my trash can out on the curb? Because, you know, you guys for years have went up there close to the garage, took her trash can to the curb, put it back in orderly fashion, never had a problem.
Still do.
And she doesn't want that to change, and he clarified that very well, that that's not going to change.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that, I mean, I understand $25,000 quarterly, that's $100,000 a year that you guys are shelling out, but again, if you institute this program, you're not going to have people with 12 trash cans anymore. So that's hopefully going to cut down. That if you're going to produce that kind of trash, you're going to have to pay for it now. Like, I think I read somewhere on Facebook Live about the is it like you would have to, it's pretty notorious here for people to just drop off trash in random places or lawn clippings and stuff like that?
It's not random. Usually what it is a landscape company will come and mow somebody's yard, and it's usually an elderly person that they can take advantage of, and that elderly person will say, just leave your bags here. The city of Bethany will gladly pick them up.
So I think that's what you're doing is a great way to put some controls on it. So I really think it'll save money in the long run. But, you know, it would be a year before you had real statistics, before you could provide us to see if it would warrant, you know, a $25,000 deduction expenses to pay for a fifth trash day. And I think I would be willing to wait a year to see what the expenses came out. And then I think that's something I've talked to my, representative that, you know, we would like sidewalks. There's things that we would like, but in order to do that, there has to be money that's found. So, you know, if we had to wait another year for that to happen, then I think it'd be okay. But that's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
I'm Alicia Malaska. I'm at 4700 North Peniel, and I also have the leaf issue, but the added issue of a family of 7. So I'll be getting an extra one, and they'll both be full every week. I have 4 teenage boys at my house, and we have a lot of trash. So my other concern with the leaves, I can't afford to get however many seasonal carts, nor will that, I mean, I would fill up way more. I mulch, so I'm a 10 bagger instead of 25, but we mulch, we compost, we mulch our grass, and we don't have any bagged grasses during the summer mowing season. It's just the leaves. And my other concern is with the sewage system and the drainage, because I don't see myself doubling my trash bill to clean up leaves that are then going to go down the drainage system and further clog up the already poor water drainage that we have. So, you know, part of the comments made were for beautification, and we've talked about lining, you know, streets like Peniel with beautiful trees in the 2030 plan, but, you know, it's the residents that clean up those leaves. And I have neighbors' leaves that I clean up. I'm on a corner. If the wind blows this way, I have those leaves. And, you know, I either have a lawn or I just leave it covered and don't have grass, or they can blow in the street and down the drain. And then how much money is that going to cost the city for all the extra leaves that people are no longer going to bag? And I'm excited about the trash not blowing down the street, and I'm excited. I've been a proponent because I lived in Oklahoma City before of the system, but I naively thought it would be similar to that system where we were allowed to put whatever extra bags of trash that we had, and they were less full from recycling. And you know, I feel like I've done everything I can do to decrease my leaf population besides getting rid of my trees. So I'm not planning on increasing my trash bill by over 100% in order to get the containers that won't be enough to contain my leaves. And then I guess I had a couple other questions, which is the seasonal cart. What season is that? Or would they be available all year, or just a specific season? Is that season the summer when people have grass clippings? Is it the fall with the leaves? Is it in the spring when people scalp their yards?
Can you answer that, Ron?
The seasonal carts are for any time of the year that you think you need them, for dethatching the grass, picking up leaves. And when you get a seasonal cart, it's a 3-month minimum that you're going to keep that cart. So the cheaper way is to get a second cart first, and then a third cart. And then if those 3 carts don't do it, then you start requesting for seasonal carts to even pick up more. stuff. But I don't know, on the mulching of the leaves, it's about a 20-to-1 factor. If you mulch them, you're going to reduce your amount that'll fit in that trash can by about 20%. So
How you do it?
most people do it with a lawnmower.
We have a
Can't do
mower.
it that way.
And do you not have a lawnmower?
I have a lawnmower, but it won't mulch 115 bags of leaves. No way will that work.
A lot of people won't
You
take,
gotta have a system of mulching if you're gonna be able to put them into any of your trash.
a lot of people will take, when we were kids, we used to see it, they'd take chicken wire and put it around 3 2x4s, fill it up, water it, and they would mulch down.
Well, that's how it is with my composter, but I'm just saying the amount of leaves, that's not gonna cut it during leaf season. I mean, I already,
We do have big
Almost.
cleanup in the middle of November right now. I know that doesn't get you to the end of fall season, but then we turn around and pick it up again in January. So we do have 2 of our quarterly trash pickups. One's in November, one is in January. So that might answer some of those questions on the leaves.
Okay.
Are most of the concerns in the public about leaves? I mean, is the real problem during that window of time?
I have a problem with branches. Now, my husband, I'm sorry. I'm Z. Gothier. I live at 6601 Northwest 30th Street, corner of Pinile and 30th. And my husband keeps our yard immaculate, and all the other neighbors close to us. He just does that. We have 4 or 5 silverleaf maples on our Pinile side, and every year we have the leaves, of course, and he does mulch them down, but he also trims the trees because they grow rather quickly, and we like to keep them off of the Pinile Street, you know, and he doesn't want Asplund coming by and making the trees really ugly, you know. And so we have a lot of limbs, and we've been able to bundle those limbs in lengths of about 4 foot and tie them all up and put them at the curb. And so that just really doesn't look like it would facilitate what we would need. And there are quite a few of them. And so that's our problem, is not only the leaves and what have you, but also the limbs. I mean, because sometimes there's limbs that are this big that need to come down, you know. And I don't know how much limbs and things weigh either, so. But that was the other problem. And I do have another thing, but it hasn't come up yet, so I won't go there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, this is part of the reason why I said I think it's important that we table this and that we keep looking at this. I think Ronnie and his crew has done an amazing job, but there are going to be things that haven't been thought of, and there are going to be things that never get thought of until this thing is rolling out, and we've always acknowledged that. You know, just sitting here, and I don't know if this works because I'm not you, but it seems like there is at least one area of our town, of our city, that leaves is a very big deal. And I know because when I was a kid, I lived over there. It's a big deal. And so if it's, you know, maybe you don't add a 5th big quarterly trash pickup for the entire city. Maybe there is an area that a seasonal grapple truck or big trash thing works so that this leaf thing and limb thing could be addressed. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. That's why I think there needs to be more discussion, which is why we threw the fact sheet out on Facebook to start the discussion. And so that's I mean, we could be here all night, and I'm willing to be here all night, listen to whoever wants to say whatever. But if everybody's satisfied, and I'm not saying you are, my vote would be to table this and carry on the conversation and think of some of these other options.
Mr. Mayor, can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
Just in summary, this is a good meeting tonight. We're having a wonderful community conversation about a sticky problem. It's the reason why I live in Bethany, because of good people. And it seems to me that the problem is the leaves, and I'll say 3 words: leave me alone.
And I was going to say, let's talk trash, so we'll come up with 3 words.
John?
I will say, I agree. I think we need to discuss more, but I think we need to have some hard numbers for the last 5 years on what our cost has been. Has it gone up, where we're at with the sanitation department in whole? And I realize some of those numbers may be hard because some of those numbers cross budget lines from fleet maintenance, not maybe into sanitation, but we need those numbers, including depreciation of the trucks, carts, replace them over the years. So I think that will be crucial. I think that that's the very crucial part in setting these prices and where we need to be.
Mr. Mayor, I know we've allocated funds for a street sweeper, and, you know, we don't even know if that's part of the plan. That obviously should be related to the leaves. It's been my experience living on a military base where they had residents who would rake all the leaves in the curb, and then they had a machine that came by and picked up all the leaves and mulched them at one time at a specific time based upon notice to the residents. So the fact is, there are solutions to this problem. We're not there yet. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question. I think you referred to, I don't know if it was Oklahoma City that has 2 rolling carts and then one for hazardous or recycling.
One is recycling.
But somewhere in the conversation on Facebook, I think I saw that they also have their bagged leaves. Do they not?
From what
I think that's part of it, and I think we need to get real here and see that this is really a need for Bethany because of our trees. Because it would be very expensive to cut them down. We cut one down and it cost us $3,500, just one tree, and we got 19 of them. So, anyway.
Thank you. I have been told, Ronnie, can you correct me if I'm wrong, that is Oklahoma City moving away from picking up bags that are not in their carts?
Yes, talked to them just yesterday. By the year 2020, they say they are going to be pushing for no bags. Most other cities I talk to about bags are charging $1.50 to $2 per bag, and you have to use the city's bag. That's what most cities are doing right now. But most cities say no bags, period. Just too much workers' comp issues, and sticks and things like that, needle sticks, when I say sticks, not branches.
Yeah.
Or they charge $1.50, $2 per bag, and you have to buy them through the city. That's the way a lot of them are. A lot of them are saying, you're using the services, you need to pay for the services, not somebody else. So, I mean, that's another option we can look at, is go to some bags. But we proposed all this tippers on the workers' comp safety thing. So this is really you guys' call. I'm just proposing what I think is best for our workers.
Thank you.
I have lived in a city where they used paper bags, so at least they, are biodegradable, and you're not dealing with.
I would think paper bags in the rain wouldn't be a good idea.
Well, they're really heavy duty. They worked. But, the plastic ones will stay there forever and ever and ever.
I'm Mark Pinion. I live at 2201 North Redmond. I don't have a big lot like Mr. Knapp over there, but it seems like some of the people here in Bethany have been taking advantage of the disposal service for years, and I don't know whether the city hasn't gone out and said, you've got 12 cans out there, you need to pay more. You've got 120 bags, you should pay more. But now you're dumping this on the rest of us citizens to resolve that issue. You're going to think it's going to go away. It's not going to go away. There's going to be leaves. There's going to be limbs. We used to be able to bundle our limbs up and put them on the street. We're not going to be able to do that anymore. You're just saying, no, we're taking it away. You were talking about water a while ago. You know, someone that uses 100 gallons of water shouldn't have to pay the same as 10,000 gallons of water. Well, now you're taking our waste away you're cutting it in half, basically. So now I'm only getting water half the time. Instead of 2 trips to my house, you're only going to make 1. And it's going to be the same basic cost. But now you're adding these carts, and now you're cutting down the waste that I can put in there. But if I want to add carts, I can pay for it on top of my basic fee that you've cut in half now, the labor that you're using.
I think the amount of trash they've calculated, it, even though they've gone from 2 times a week pickup to 1 with the larger carts, they figured all that into it.
Well, I think if you picked up twice the amount of trash that this will hold with the 2 trips to my house, then there might not be a need to have bags outside of this trash can.
You're saying twice weekly pickup of
They pick it
that
up my
size
house now
cart?
twice a week.
So
Now you're
if-
going to limit it to 1 time. But if you come twice a week,
To pick up
maybe
that
this does
size.
work. Anyway, my point.
Thank you.
Something I'd like to add to this discussion that I should have added earlier was I believe in the future, within 10 to 15 years, OSHA is going to come along and say no more bags, period, because of workman's comp and safety issues like they've done on construction sites. You have to wear a hard hat. You have to wear gloves. OSHA is looking at sanitation as another one of those, this isn't safe for these gentlemen to do it this way. So this is going to be what everybody's going to go to one day. And there won't be any bags, period, one day. So just throwing that out there for you guys to think about. And, John, on your comments, Mr. Caton, our city engineer, is an integrated solid waste management expert. So you want the study done, he can do it. If you can get him to, somebody on upper management to ask him to do that. He is an engineer expert in the area of solid waste.
Is there anyone else?
I'm Don Richards, 4501 North Willow Avenue. This has been being discussed for quite some time now. I believe it was part of the campaigns that were run. Promise of the automated or semi-automated service. A lot of funds, matter of fact, I think there's close to $1 million has been shelled out already, and we're talking about putting this off. We're running a city, and this has nothing to do with anybody in here, with acting managers and acting supervisors. I think it's time you take something off the plate, and this needs to go. We've spent the money. It's already gone. Let's utilize the equipment that we've got and move forward. You can adjust the prices or how you want to do it anytime you want, but roll it out. Don't let it sit in a lot somewhere or wait and go to waste. I think it's time to take something off of your plate and focus on the other items that you've got. I would suggest you move forward this item.
I have another question for Ronnie. A couple of people have asked about the reduction of the number of times per week. Is there a possibility of twice a week pickup of the larger carts? What does that involve?
More money.
Yeah. But how is it more money than what they're paying now?
Because you're driving the same roads twice a week compared to once a week. Going to the landfill more often. Yeah, that's what we're doing now, and we're losing money. So there's no money for sidewalks, street repairs, and ADA compliant sidewalks because we're not making enough money to provide those services.
So if it was an option to have twice weekly pickup, would it be worth paying more to do it?
That's you guys' decision, not mine. Yes. Well, I think this is a misnomer. I mean, I just went up there and asked if this was gonna save money. I think we all agree that you guys are gonna save money with this. You come up there half as much, and like I said, I'm one of the 2 to 3, I'm gonna need 2 of those every week. I dispose, I put out 2 full trash cans, that's 110 gallons. So one of the, like 2 of those a week, like you said, I gotta pack them down and it's gonna work. But like I said, I think you guys are gonna save money, and I think that's the goal, because I'm one of the people that wants sidewalks and I want better things for Bethany. But I think there's other people that are a little more upset about it than I am.
I do believe that if we,
It's an issue of manpower and time.
again,
No hard numbers.
yeah. Again, I appreciate what everybody said here. I appreciate, Donnie, what you said. We do have a lot on our plate, and these are things that we've known. It's about cleaning up our city, which everybody seemed to agree that was long overdue. It's about moving the city forward. It's about trying to have the financial means to finally be able to pour sidewalks and create walkability and fill potholes and all those things that takes money to do. If we moved it, me, not the expert, I'd have to rely on these guys, but if we go to like what we're talking about, but yet doing it twice a week, you're not getting it for $250. You know, there's just no way, because then we're losing even more money. And so it's time we invest in ourselves. That's the way I see it. If we want this city, in my opinion, to improve and move forward and be what we want it to be, well, you have to invest in yourself. You can't just keep doing what you've always done and expect better results. That's crazy. And so we have to make decisions to move forward. I understand that there's going to be wrinkles and bumps that we're going to have to face. I understand there's going to be people that say, the council and the mayor, they're idiots. Told you there was going to be a problem. As long as we're moving forward and we can fix the things that need to be fixed. Like I said, I'm for holding out till after January and having more discussion. But I'll also jump on this right now and let's roll forward and fix the things that we come across. Maybe a grapple truck seasonally going through your part of town, picking up bags of leaves and limbs, maybe that works. You know, maybe there's one added big trash pickup for a certain area. Maybe that works to pick up all these leaves. There's an answer out there, but the answer is not to continue doing what we've always done, because we're losing money. And every day we lose more money. So we've got to do something. And I think we all have to do it together, because we're all paying the price. We all will pay the price. So I would like to hear from council as far as, do we table this till January, or do we roll this out?
I think it's imperative that we table it till January to figure out and to come up with good options for the leaf season, since that's the season we're in right now.
Mr. Mayor, I think that that's my consensus, but I like the idea of setting up a plan and proposing that to the public with specific dates that we are going to meet to discuss this, and have not just leave it open-ended today, but have a timeline where we're going to go and how we're going to do it. And I think that that's would help staff. I think it would help the public to understand and appreciate if they have issues, they can bring that to the forefront and we can talk about it. And then we have some kind of a board or commission or committee that makes a formal recommendation based upon the input from not only staff but the public to get to this point, because it will affect everyone in this community. And it's a very important issue. And I know we've been doing this for a while, but the fact is, we didn't have this input. We have the input now, and that's where we are, and this is what we need to do now. So it's not like we can look back and say, well, we should have done this or that. You're right. If we don't change and we don't put a new system in, it's going to be more of the same and less money. So let's work together to get this done. Set a schedule, get a committee, whatever, do something between now and January 15 to make it happen. I don't want this to be an open-ended deal. I want something specific and set up so that we can show the residents, look, we're not talking about it, we're doing something, and you have an opportunity for your input. And that's very important to me, and I think that that's why I would support a motion to table this with the caveat that staff and the residents actively discuss this over a period of time and we come to a consensus, figure out what we need to do.
So we can table this and then set a date for a meeting of putting our minds together and discussing this.
Mr. Mayor, that could be a workshop, that could be a public hearing, that could be a neighborhood association meeting, that could be anything that we would like it to be with more information. And I would encourage everybody to go out and look and see if, we're all going to become, believe it or not, experts in trash. So here we are, and this is your community, and your input is very important, and we want to see where we can go with this.
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend town hall meetings. It seems to be a great format in the past. It's worked well, and that way it can be an open discussion. It's a meeting, and see if something can come out of that.
And while we're at it, I'd like to add that we talk about recycling, because this may be my last time to have input. I'm not running again, so those of you who want to vote me out, you can't.
My only suggestion, and the only thing I'm really lacking, is we need to see the real numbers of what sanitation costs us now when we put it all together, where we need to hit targets wise, what's this new program going to cost with depreciation of vehicles. I think we got very good input from the citizens tonight. Thank you. I think we have a clear direction of where we need to go. For me, I just need to see the bottom line. I need to see the numbers to know why and how we came up with these fees and where we're at with those.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to, hold on. I will hold on.
I would like to make a motion, because I rarely get to do that, to table this and direct the acting city manager to set a town hall meeting schedule that we will let the public know about, that we can all come back together and continue to discuss this. And in the meantime, staff can be working together and addressing some of the things that have come up tonight and seeing if there's anything we can do to address some of these things that at that town hall meeting might make sense.
I'll second that motion.
Please cast your votes.
Can we not set that tonight so everybody knows?
I'm good with it.
So in the meantime, that means we do still need to be buying trash bags.
October 23rd is a Tuesday night, and there's not a council meeting scheduled. And I think that will give staff time to work on the concerns that have been voiced tonight.
October 23rd.
Then we can put it back on the agenda for a vote on the first November meeting.
Mm-hmm. So mark your calendars.
Thank you.
7:30 work.
October 23rd.
Yes.
Huh? Do you want to go earlier?
Can, certainly.
Who would like to get it started earlier, maybe get out earlier? 7?
23rd at 7.
23rd, 7 p.m. And I had a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Item 7 is the citizens' opportunity to address the council on general topics related to city business or services. You will have a 3-minute limit, and no action may be taken on matters under this item. Is there anyone else that would like to say something? Moving on. Item 8 is the city attorney's report.
Very briefly, I've been working on the alcohol ordinance as I practiced saying the title earlier. One of the things that I wanted to advise the council is we did receive an action for a plat vacation. Unfortunately, with the time frames, I need to check with OMAG. I don't believe it's insured, but probably what I will do is go ahead and enter appearance and get a little bit of additional time. I'll be updating the council on that, and then we can discuss it at the next meeting, but I certainly don't want to put the city in any sort of compromising position. One of the things that I have been doing is working with staff. I've been looking at the agendas and the minutes, and they have kindly accepted some of the feedback that I've given. I want to thank David Davis. He has been an incredible resource for me. He is just amazing. Just so you know, David and I have this ongoing discussion, and I'm not billing the city for any conversations that I have with him. So, but I'm sure I'm going to have to buy him something like a nice meal or two to thank him for all the time that he's given me. But he's such a great resource and the quintessential professional, and so I want to publicly express my thanks to him. I've been responding to staff on some employment issues. We worked on some cemetery issues and on planning and zoning matters. And I would like to thank the council for appointing me your interim. I love this place. I'm really happy to be providing representation to you all. I have an incredible respect for staff. I've really enjoyed working with the police chief in his interim capacity. So thank you all for giving me the opportunity to do this, and I look forward to making some recommendations so that you can make a smooth transition into your permanent city attorney.
Thank you. City manager's report.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Item 10, council members' announcements, comments, and proposals. Let's start down with Mr. Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor. Really, about the only thing I would like to say is thank you, everybody, for coming. I have seen a bunch of Facebook posts and things, and I had a lot of concerns about this. Thank you for coming and voicing your concerns. Most of them were the same ones I had. So those big... by the way, I don't have a really big lot. I just have 3 large oak trees, plus all my neighbors' oak trees. So I put out all those bags of leaves I talked about over several months. But since I can't seem to get my teenager to help, and he'll hear about that when I get home, or I'll hear about that comment. But just thank you, everybody, for being here. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Herron?
Thank you, Mayor. It is that time of the year we need to move forward with setting election filing dates and setting our election. So that's something that we're going to need to work on and get on our agenda.
It's something that we actually talked about before the meeting, and so I made a note to call the election board first thing in the morning and find out when that resolution needs to be filed. So that's at the top of my to-do list.
Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank all the citizens for coming out. It's great when we get your input. It does make our jobs easier. And I want to thank Mrs. Maurer, who wanted me to share her letter also. And I did share it, wanted her to know I did share it with the rest of the council. It did not go in the trash. We actually are responsive and try to do the right thing. And I was informed millennials outnumber baby boomers now. And most baby boomers are getting their information here. And after 1 o'clock tomorrow, every one of these in the United States is going off, testing a new emergency broadcast system. So don't freak out, because everybody who has a phone is going to go off at the same time in this country. And It's just a test. This is only a test. And Mr. Shirey, he's in Mercy Hospital. He's getting his oil changed, and he's watching right now, I believe. Prayers out for Mr. Shirey. He'll probably be back and kicking here before you know it, and raising Cain.
So,
that's all I got.
Mr. Todd?
I'm good, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Dr. Harris? Councilmember Palmer?
Thank you for being here. I'm encouraged by the debate. I think we get better with debate, and I appreciate your participation. This is your time, and I hope we used it in the right way. And for all those non-Cubby fans out there, and I think you know who they are. One guy lives down the street. I am giving all my love and support to my Chicago Cubs, who are now in the wild card series, and I think they're down by 1 run. Thank you.
I would like to call tonight's discussion, not a debate, but a family discussion. I believe we're the family of Bethany, and this is what it takes, sitting around having a discussion. So I, too, appreciate everybody coming out and speaking their voice and letting their voice be heard. Like I said earlier, we promised a new level of transparency, and I think this shows it. I think Facebook Live, like somebody had mentioned, that we started, shows this transparency, and believe me, we hear about a lot of the comments that are said on Facebook Live, and that's okay. It's a level of transparency. And so that's what we're going to continue to do, but it's a lot more work doing it that way. But I believe that's why you voted us into these seats, and you deserve it. And so that's just the way we're going to do things. Item 11 is new business. Do we have any new business? With no new business, I declare us adjourned until October 16th, 2018. I call to order the Bethany Public Works Authority. Item 1A and B is a consent docket. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Please cast your votes. Item 2 is new business. Do we have any new business? With no new business, I declare us adjourned until October 16th, 2018. I call to order the Bethany Hospital Trust. Item 1, consent docket A and B. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Please cast your votes. Item 2 is new business. Do we have any new business? With no new business, I declare us adjourned until October 16th, 2018. I call to order the Bethany Development Authority. Item 1 is a consent docket A and B. On item B, I would like to pull the Sears rebate because we need more research. We had a discussion about this today. Do I have a second?
Second.
Please cast your votes. Item 2 is new business. Do we have any new business? With no new business, I declare us adjourned till October 16th, 2018. Thank you very much and good night.